Hi folks, it's Andy and welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. We've got some great questions for you today. We'll jump into them in just a moment. But before we do, don't forget to support the channel. You can get a t-shirt, a fantastic one like this. This one says, Keizoku wa Chikara Nani. I think I talk about it every week, the last few weeks anyway. It's the only one I have to hand. Some great t-shirts like that at our Teespring store. There's a thing in there down below where you can do that. We've got face masks as well, not the ones that you wear for Kendo, but like the ones that you wear when you go down the shops or whatever. So yeah, to stop you getting the germs and all that. We've got some other great things to talk about and other great ways you can support the channel. You'll learn more about that later in the video. Not sure yet when, but not sure yet when. Not sure when yet. There we go. See, everything's all back to front today. Okay, first question. Hi, Andy. We never get to see the KendoStar team. Do they exist? Can we meet them? Yeah, they exist, but they're a team of secret ninjas that are unable to reveal their identity on pain of seppuku. So, yeah, maybe one day. Next one. Hi, Andy. I seem to recall that in the past, white Borgu were worn mainly by women, at least here in the UK. And in the light of last week's rant, and not entirely unrelated to the previous question, I have a question for Mrs. Fisher Sensei. White Borgu, what does she think? Cool or uncool? Or would she wear one? Well, she doesn't have a YouTube channel, and I do, so I answer the questions. Well, in all seriousness, I asked her this on your behalf. I did ask her. I asked her if she wanted to appear on the channel to answer it herself, but she wasn't really up for that. But she said she did actually used to wear a white Borgu when she was a elementary school student. So when she was a little kid, from being about 7, I think she started wearing the Borgu, up to being about 11 or 12, and then she got a navy blue Borgu instead. So yeah. I asked her about what she thinks about it. She thinks that, yeah, if you like them, fine. Cool or uncool, I think she seemed indifferent around that. Would she wear one? Yeah, like I said, she did wear one in the past. Would she wear one now? No, she's not interested in wearing one now, mainly for the reasons that we spoke about last week. She's not really keen on standing out that much. She doesn't want to have to worry about the stains that it would get from everyone else's eyes on their Borgu, and also you don't get as good a Borgu for the same price because it's much more expensive to produce. So she's not that really interested in wearing one now. She's an adult, but she did have one when she was a kid. So yeah. Hi Andy, more of a Borgu question than a Kendo one this time. Kendo Borgu is fundamentally a utilitarian item to protect Kendoka during practice, but many Borgu sets are incredibly beautiful to look at. For example, the old Shinobu set. Have you seen the new Kamui set? That's amazing to look at. It's well beautiful. Anyway, with that in mind, have you ever bought a Borgu set that you have for display purposes only, or is this not something that people really do? No, I've never done that, and I don't really know anyone that's done that either, because although it is, like you say, utilitarian, it's very functional. So even very, very beautiful sets like the Kamui or something like the Kanzetsu, even like a beautiful hand stitch set, it's built to be used. So even very expensive door, for example, I've seen people use, you know, very expensive. Obviously, often it's like really high graded Sensei that don't get hit very often. But like, you know, like a door itself, just the door could cost several thousand dollars or pounds or whatever the equivalent currency is for you. But people still use them. So yeah, I've never heard of somebody having them simply for display. The ones that you tend to see on display are usually like old sets that belong to Sensei that have maybe passed on. I've never seen somebody like just have a Borgu set that's only for display use. Next one. Hi Andy, over the years I've done Kendo. I've noticed that many beginners come and go. My take is that about 1 person out of 100 stays and adopts Kendo as a hobby. Is there a similar situation in your dojo or other places you know? Is it just a local thing? Thanks. Well, I've got a great answer for that, and it's coming up right after this. Okay, there it was. That's our, that's my website, KendoStar.com. That is a fantastic, wonderful, amazing equipment website. Of course, I would say that, but shopping there is what supports the channel. So yeah, if you like the content that we put out and you want amazing Kendo equipment, the best in the world, then go and shop at KendoStar.com. Of course, I'd say all that, but if you don't believe me, check our Trustpilot rating, all of our ratings. We're the highest rated online. So yeah, I think the whole situation where you have like 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 people staying at Kendo, I do think it's normal, especially in like outside of Japan. In Japan, it's got a much higher retention rate, and it's for two main reasons. One is that in Japan, most people already know what Kendo is to some extent before they get involved. And secondly, the vast majority of people that start Kendo in Japan are children, usually in their first year of elementary school. So when they're about 6 or 7 years old is when they start Kendo. My daughter started when she was 7. So yeah, and the thing is, of course, is that it's not viewed as like a hobby or like a pastime for kids when they start in Japan. It's an extension of their education. It's what they call a naraigoto, which is something that they that most parents they make their kids do a naraigoto. It could be learning the piano. They so often have them do several. It could be calligraphy. It could be learning to use an old-fashioned abacus. There's even that. There's all these different things, and Kendo is considered one of those. So once they start, they're not allowed to quit. They don't get to quit just because they don't like it or whatever. It's a decision that the parents have made. That's probably still the most common pattern of people starting Kendo in Japan. But in the West, of course, it's not like that. People come to Kendo and it's often very different to what they expect. It's often much harder than they expect, or it's just not actually, they're actually not really ready to commit to something like Kendo, despite trying it out. So I do think that is normal. It's for reasons like that I put out the video, 5 things to know before starting Kendo. That's one of the more popular videos on the channel, actually, because I want people to know what they're getting into before they start. Of course, I want as many people in the world to start Kendo as possible and stay at it and love it and gain what I've gained from Kendo, all the fantastic, wonderful things that exist in the world thanks to Kendo, or that you can be gained from Kendo, I should say, probably. I do want that, but at the same time, if people, I think it's best for people to know what they're getting into before they come along, and I think then there's a higher chance of those people that do come along after knowing that actually sticking around. So I actually think that there's I actually think you probably have a higher retention rate. I have a reasonably good retention rate at my dojo, actually. And I think it's because I go to quite a lot of effort beforehand to make sure that the people that come and join my dojo know what they're getting into beforehand. So yeah, I do think that is one thing. But in my experience of Kendo outside of Japan, in lots of different dojos, yeah, the drop-off rate is huge. And obviously it's been really tough this year with all the other sort of nonsense that's been going on as well. Okay, next question. Hi, Andy. I need some clarification on a topic that seems basic, but I can't really find an answer. Who, when, and why do you call someone Sensei? Before starting Kendo, I was under the impression that in each dojo there was only one Sensei, but there's only one just as there's only one captain of a ship. I'm a little confused because this title seems to also be given to older practitioners or those with certain experience, but not to all advanced practitioners. I don't want to offend anyone by not calling them Sensei or calling them Sensei when I shouldn't. Thanks for your help. Okay, so again, this is another, like, outside of Japan, we attach this massive significance to the word Sensei. Of course, like, it's an honorific title, but it's not like king or queen or something like that. Yeah, it just means teacher. And put in a simple way, right? It's not in Japan. Let's talk about the context of the word sensei in Japan first, In Japan, it's not really attached to grade. Okay, it's not really attached to grade. In some cases it is, but for the most part it's not. It's just attached to the sort of senior teacher type people. So like in a lot of like local dojos where there's kids there and adults. Usually most of the adults, especially if they're like Dan grades, even if it's like third Dan or above, are referred to as sensei, because as far as the kids are concerned, they're the teachers. So if somebody's in a teaching role, they are sensei in the dynamic of the dojo, if you know what I mean. Here's how I do it, is generally, for a start, anyone who is 6th Dan or above, I call sensei, because 6th Dan is the official kind of line of Kodansha high grade. Like in the All Japan Kendo Federation, that's where you need to go to an All Japan level grade as opposed to grading, as opposed to a local one. So in my opinion, anyone who's 6th Dan or higher, I generally use the suffix sensei when I'm talking to them, unless it's somebody that I'm particularly close to, or on extreme, like very, very good terms with, maybe even a similar age to me. So for the most part, I generally call people, and obviously if they're 7th Dan, I definitely say an 8th Dan. And sometimes there's people as well that aren't that grade, that maybe they're a different grade, a lower grade, because it's not really about the gradings either. Like there's people that, for example, are people who I have looked up to as teachers from the beginnings of my kendo, who I may have even have surpassed in terms of my official rank, but from my point of view, I still consider them a sensei. So I'd still refer to those people as sensei as well. And often these people will say to me, "Oh, don't call me sensei, don't call me sensei." But like, I feel really awkward not to. So I ask them if it's, I usually say to them when they say, "Oh, don't call me sensei, just call me by my name," or whatever. I just say to them, "Oh, please, I'd prefer it if you let me call you sensei," because it feels better for me. So it's almost selfish of me to do that because they've asked me not to, but they allow me to do that. So I appreciate that. So yeah, and I use the term, I use it all the time, not just in the dojo. Some people prefer only to use it in the dojo. Having said that, there is another time when I will only use it in the dojo, and that's when sometimes, for example, if I'm a teacher at a class or a seminar or something like that, and there is another teacher who is a lower grade than me, and maybe a kind of kohai, or somebody that's, started kendo after me, or has been doing, is younger than me, that sort of thing, who's also a teacher, I will refer to them as sensei in front of the students, even if I wouldn't normally refer to them as sensei, like for the rest, from my point of view, even if I don't consider them a sensei. So there's that as well. Just like, imagine if you're at school, like back in the days when you was at school, I don't know what it's like in the country you're at, but like in the UK, we call our teachers like Mr. whatever or Mrs. whatever. And in front of the students, the teachers, at least in my day, would refer to each other by Mr. whatever and Mrs. whatever. It's a lot like that as well, okay? In that specific context. So I know it's difficult to grasp, and my sort of, I guess my impression of it's probably quite diluted by the fact that I spent a lot of time in Japan, and a lot of my kendo experience was done in Japan. But to be safe, I think the best thing to do is anybody that is like a reasonably high grade and is in a teaching position, just refer to them as sensei all the time. And if they ask you to, if they say to you, "Hey, you don't call me sensei, just call me whatever," then that's fine. Just call, if you prefer to, just call them by the name if they're happy with you doing that. But I think that you won't offend somebody by calling them sensei. I don't think you'll offend somebody by calling them sensei when you shouldn't. So don't worry about that. The worst that'll happen is say, "Hey, you don't have to call me sensei. It's fine." Yeah. Next one. "Hi Andy, I'm still very much a beginner, but I was wondering, when do you recommend to start competing in Shiai? I don't really have any interest in doing so for a good long time, but I was wondering if there was a specific grade at where that becomes something sensei generally recommend. Thanks." No, there's not a specific grade. I would, as soon as not as soon as, but once you start practicing regularly in armor and regularly practicing Jigeko, and you feel that you can make strikes that are somewhere towards reaching the criteria of Yuko Datotsu, valid strikes, then I think it's okay for you to start participating in Shiai. Don't expect to win, but that's not the point of Shiai. So yeah, I don't think you have to hold yourself back necessarily in that respect. Next one. Hi Andy, is there a way to stretch the men's circumference safely on our own? Mine's a little tight and I understand that there's a device for this, but I'm wondering if pulling on the men button could actually achieve the same effect safely. Okay, so what you're talking about is the actual inside of the men to make it bigger. No, there isn't. You need the men kakudaiki, the actual device for doing that, but they're quite expensive considering you would only really need to use it once. And it's not the menfuton, it's not the menbuton that you need to stretch. It's actually the uchiwa, the part inside that your face sits against. That's what the men kakudaiki does. If your men's a little tight, then but you can still get it on, especially as long as you can get your forehead and your chin on the uchiwa properly, and the forehead is touching the ten and the chin is touching the chi, the parts inside. Then even if it feels tight, with use it will stretch. It'll be very uncomfortable at first probably, but it will stretch with use. Certainly if it's a KendoStar men anyway. So yeah, I think if you use it, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. Next one, what bokken do you sell that would be best for kata practice? The best one for kata practice is the white oak, the deluxe white oak bokken. That's the best material for kata. It's long lasting, it looks fine, it's classic. Any of the others will be perfectly fine though. I mean, bokken are pretty durable no matter what. The Isu ones are really popular. They look a little bit different and they're perfectly well suited for it as well. And I personally really like the Sunuke ones and the Biwa. They're really nice too. There's a Murasaki Kokutan as well. It's not as suited for kata. It's pretty heavy. I'd recommend using that for suburi rather than kata. And it's alright for occasional use. But if you're doing kata every week, you're fine just with the white oak one, to be honest. Unless you want to have something that looks a little bit more exotic. Next one. Hi Andy, here's one for you. Here we go. I've been watching videos of 8th Dan tournaments. We all live in hope, but at least it's something we can all aspire to. I've noticed that should the two competitors come to Tsubazeri rather than one of the competitors attempt strike hikiwaza, there's frequently a nod between the two and they reset to isoku ito no maai. Can you please explain why hikiwaza is so rare in 8th Dan tournaments? Okay. Well, I'm not an 8th Dan myself, obviously. So I don't know, but I can speculate. Now, what you're talking about is when they come to Tsubazeri, that's when they come up close. In lower level tournaments like the All Japan tournament or any of those ones, and especially in younger people's tournaments like high school tournaments, university tournaments, and children's tournaments, or especially high school. High school is like the high school in Japan, like Japanese high school tournaments are the golden zone for hikiwaza. So when they're in the Tsubazeri, when they make a strike and go backwards. Why don't you see it so much in 8th Dan tournaments? It's because when they're at that level, I think, this is what I think, and this is my experience as a 6th Dan, okay, not as an 8th Dan. But as you start to get more and more experience in Kendo, the easy answer, of course, is that it's age, and obviously when they're 8th Dan, usually at like the All Japan 8th Dans, they're like in their late 40s and up to the mid 50s. That's the easy sort of answer, but I don't actually think it's that. I actually think it's more to do with, and having said that though, at the All Japan Championships, like the All Japan Championships, I think hikiwaza is reasonably rare there as well. And again, that's because you've got a lot of quite higher grade players in that are like 5th Dan to 7th Dan, the best players in the All Japan Championships. And I think it's because as you start to, grade higher in Kendo, you start to achieve more and more experience, you start to really create more opportunities for striking using seme and capturing the sen, the initiative. And as your opponent is doing the same as now, like in the All Japans, you know, there can still be quite a big disparity between the age and experience of the players. So that's why you'll probably see a few more in that. But like in the 8th Dan Championships, they're all on the same page, right? Pretty much, yeah. Which is, and it's the same like at the Kyoto Taikai. If you watch the Kyoto Taikai, where everyone's the same grade, like they're fighting people the same age and grade, you don't see much hikiwaza in that either, because once you get to that point in your kendo and you're starting to really focus on seme and taking the initiative, the sen, it's not that those things don't happen in Super Zeriai. They absolutely do, but those opportunities in Super Zeriai are much fewer and further between than they are from like Isoku Ito no Mai. So when you get to Super Zeriai, it becomes much more of a deadlock where there just isn't a chance for an opportunity to be created. So I think that's why you see less and less hikiwaza. It's nothing to do with like being honourable or stuff like that. Hikiwaza is equally as valid as Tobikomiwaza, but I really think it's more to do with the fact that as they get to that sort of semi and they're on the same level, there just isn't the opportunity for it as often as there are in lower level tournaments where there's a bigger disparity between competitors. Even at high school level, right? Even in high school level tournaments, like even though all those kids are a similar age and often a similar grade, there's a huge disparity between the level of the ability between the kids. And yeah, that's what I think is the reason at the moment. So yeah. Okay, last one. Hi Andy, I've been struggling with the correct execution of shortcuts. My technique is described as butterflying instead of cutting. Can you recommend some resource that covers topic in detail? I've never heard of butterflying in terms of like a cutting technique, so I don't know what that means. But I assume you mean by shortcuts, you mean like small techniques. I recommend you watch the Kendo Show. That's this channel that you're watching right now. And watch some of the videos that I've done about men attacks, and also Kendo 0 to Shodan striking techniques. I've got 2 episodes on it, and I think it's the second one where I go into more detail about making small strikes, and I explain exactly how you should be doing it. Don't worry about necessarily what it is you're doing wrong. I mean, obviously you do need to worry about that, but watch what I say in those videos and follow the advice in those videos and try and implement that, and I'm sure that your technique will improve. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to support the channel by shopping at KendoStar.com. Buy a t-shirt or a face mask or something if you really want to support us. And most importantly, shop at KendoStar, because that's what really keeps the boat afloat. But what you really want to do as well, and this is important, you need to go down underneath the video, click the like button, you need to click the subscribe button. Don't worry about the subscribe button, it's YouTube, it doesn't mean anything. But when you click that subscribe button, a little bell appears. That's the Kendo bell. If you don't ring that bell, you don't get better at Kendo. I'm telling you this every week, but still only 11% of you have rung the Kendo bell. So go and ring the Kendo bell if you want to get better at Kendo. Okay? Good. See you next time. Bye-bye.